Grayson was saying that the ankle feels better than what he thought it was going to feel. What was he able to do today, practice-wise?
Not much, yeah.
He said he calls himself questionable. Is that what you're calling him as well?
Yes.
Okay. I do find it interesting in terms of Devin after the game was saying that when things get stagnant or things get off when you guys start losing that you separate. Has that been something that, how much has that plagued you guys?
Not more than any other team I've been a part of. I mean, when things go wrong in a game, there's always let's figure out like what's happened. There's going to be frustration, especially if you get that down in 2 games in a row by double digits. But we got a connected group, and we do a good job working through those things.
Is there the carryover? How do you stop that from bleeding into the actual play?
No, I mean I think it's you head it off, right when it happens.
Okay.
You know what I mean? In game and then post game, and you come into work the next day, and everybody's back where they should be.
When you look at that third quarter, you had mentioned that you felt like there were some lost possessions offensively. When you went back and looked at the film, I'm sure turnovers were part of it, but what kind of got away process-wise?
Yeah, we got to handle our pressure smarter, and we got to be smarter in how we're attacking their defense. They have an elite defense, but there's areas that we want to attack within it, and the amount of movement that we want to get within that to generate more rotations. I thought we did it well in the first half, and when they made a run, I thought we reverted and got away from our movement. So we have to sustain it for 48 minutes.
You guys held them to 105, and defensively, that should be good enough.
With 30 points off turnovers.
Right.
So we're feeling good about what we're trying to do defensively. There's still a lot of ways we can be better with it. But we got to continue to do it too.
On those rotations with the closeouts, was that an area where defensively you could probably take it up a notch?
Yeah, I mean we did a decent job on some of them, but definitely can be better.
To Gerald's point, it was a really good defensive performance, but I was curious on your perspective on Conley and McDaniels, just how you watched their baskets going back and the trade-off there that you're trying to.
Yeah, we got to guard those guys. They're good players.
Yeah.
We just didn't do a good enough job on them.
Devin, when you ask about overcoming adversity or stopping a run, the first thing he always says all the time is communicate. What ways do you need to communicate better?
Just talking out what's happening within the game. If we're stalling out offensively, just talking to each other in terms of our spacing and the actions that we're running and how we want to attack. And if it's happening on the defensive side, get our coverages tight.
You guys got better at that throughout the season?
Of course.
How well is the team executing the game plan from game to game?
Pretty well, but it can be better. There's been some plays where we haven't executed what the scheme that we have in, and those are the frustrating ones. If you execute doing what you're supposed to do, and they score, you tip your cap to them. But too many breakdowns for my liking. Not egregious, but so these are the playoffs, so every possession matters.
Is the game plan too much, too little?
No.
Coach, looking at Eric, you had said he could easily get it going, and he did the other night. What do you feel like led to him finally clicking back?
Just a matter of time. Okay. I mean, he's been in a bit of a slump towards the end of the season with how he's shooting the basketball, but like I said, guys like that don't stay down too long. You just got to continue to generate good shots within the rhythm of our offense, and we saw that.
I didn't even realize that after the game that Royce didn't take a shot. When you go back and look at the film, what led to that?
Yeah, he didn't pass any up either, though. I mean, he's just going to take what's the shots that the defense gives you. The ball movement and the defense generates or dictates, who's going to be left open, and the ball didn't find him in that game.
Frank, when you're down 0-2, how hard is it to avoid the situation where you want to change things and just kind of stay with what got you here?
Yeah, I mean, we just got to win one game. Whether it's game 1, that's the approach. Game 3, that's the approach. We're up 2 or down 2. We're evaluating what's happening on the floor and what the matchup looks like, and putting in the right plan to win game 3.
With Eric bouncing back, Drew having some good minutes there in game 2. Obviously, the series shifting to home and role players play better at home. That's the old saying. How important is it for those guys to build on what they kind of found in game 2?
Yeah, we need everybody to play well, and those role players. And if we decide to go deeper into our bench, everyone's got to be ready and come in and contribute.
What has Drew done basically to help you guys defensively besides what he brings as a lob threat on offense?
Yeah, just the rebounding and physicality, screen setting. You know what I mean? He's one of our tougher guys, and we need that in this series. It's a big, strong, physical team. So, his the force with which he plays with, not only the toughness and athleticism, but the speed at the big position. Him rolling behind their defense, running the floor, being active on the boards. I think all those things are ways where Drew contributes.
You talk about going deep, possibly deeper into the bench, just bowl a situation where, because his ability
Consider everyone.
Yeah. Just maybe what he would bring in a series where you haven't been generating the threes that you want.
Yeah, I mean, he's just offensively, he's a gifted guy, that can shoot threes, that can, make plays when we get the defense in rotations, and he can help us on the boards as well,
Tomorrow's game, just getting the practice in.
Yeah, just some time on the floor. It's always good to get time on the floor, refresh, go over the stuff that we watched in film. Yeah, so court time is always important.
Look at just with Minnesota as far as the closeouts, you talked about it after the game. How much is it getting better at that?
Yeah.
That's going to be necessary.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it. Closeout defense, keeping the ball in front. They're stretching our defense out. It's a lot of long closeouts we're in, so we just got to be better at that. We contest harder at the rim, rebound the basketball. I think we did a better job of rebounding last game. But for the most part, control those closeouts and get a hand up on shots.
Curious, the only thing I have, other things on the threes, it just seems like some were passed up, like they're open, but not shooting them. Coach wants a higher volume. Is that something that more threes need to be generated just because of the nature of the game?
Yeah, it's three-point business, so we definitely want to try to get as many as we can up, but good shots at the right times, not shots that's going to compromise our transition defense. That's always the balance you have when playing in this era, shooting threes. So you just got to find a balance, but also just taking a good shot every time down. Can't have 19, 20 turnovers, and regardless of how we play, we can't have that many turnovers. So. We keep the ball in our hands, we have a better chance to score.
Kevin, to that point, when you guys were able to get the shots up, it seemed like the quality of looks was there. Would you agree that you liked the looks you guys were getting?
Yeah. I think so. I think in the playoffs, you're going to have to take tougher shots. I think sometimes, like you said, we passed up some. I think sometimes you got to take those shots over guys and just instead of passing it to the other team, So, I like what we generated. We could just do more of it.
What's the balance for you guys between respecting what Rudy does around the rim, but also just not overthinking it when it comes to the shot selection around there?
That's a good balance to have. He's such a great shot blocker. He just deters a lot of shots. Just his presence alone deters a lot of shots. But it's also you got to challenge him. He's a great defensive player, but there's times where you're gonna have to challenge him. So we're just finding that balance. And I think once the ball's tipped up and you kind of see the feel of the game, you'll figure that out as a player. What does it mean? Yeah, it's good to get in your own bed and know your routine and get that fan support behind you. That stuff is cool, but you still gotta go out there and play, execute the game plan regardless of all of that stuff. So it's about your job, and I think guys are ready to just come out there and do their job.
Do you reset it all? When coming back home, having the crowd support behind you, and having a few days here?
Not a reset. Just get back into your zone and focus on the game and try not to let that stuff distract you. You can easily let your guard down being at home and going through your route and your routine and the normal route to practice and stuff like that. You can get comfortable, but try not to get distracted and just focus on the task at hand.
Frank has mentioned a couple times that even though you guys have playoff experience individually, this is the first time you guys have gone through it as a group. Do you think that's been a factor of what we've seen in the third quarter?
No, I don't think that's a factor at all.
I think you mentioned the turnovers. When you watched back the film, was there anything that stood out in terms of what was going wrong?
A lot of them just mishandling the ball, just playing a little too fast. I think that's where a lot of our turnovers all year has been coming from. It's just us, we speeding ourselves up. Sorry. We're just playing at a faster pace, trying to get something going, trying to make a thread the needle pass, trying to make something work. And sometimes you got to slow down and take what the defense gives us.
Kevin, in the third quarter, it started, so why they got
I mean, I gotta go back. Yeah, I gotta go back and watch. Any small thing can turn the game and give them momentum, and it's not necessarily a made shot or a block shot or anything like that. I mean, I gotta go back and watch, but it just felt like it happened so fast, and we couldn't get a score up, and they was coming down and pretty much getting what they wanted at the rim. So it was a tough stretch for us the last 2 games. The next game, coming out of halftime, we got to be better.
Kevin, do you think you guys are talking and communicating at the level you should be?
Yep, I think so. We just didn't play. We just didn't play well. We just didn't execute. You could talk all you want. If you don't execute what you just talked about, it does you no good. So yeah, talking and the rah-rah speeches and all that stuff is cool to a certain point, but you got to go out there and execute. And I think we haven't done that. We've done it in spurts. Don't get me wrong, throughout this series. But it's not good enough doing it in spurts, So sometimes you just got to do it instead of thinking too much or talking too much. And I think we got guys that have done that before who've understood that, it's just about getting the job done at the end of the day, regardless of what's being said or how you feel or what's on your heart as a person or player. Just get your job done. And I think we'll do that. But we got to put it together consistently. And I think that's what our season's been. Sometimes we put it together for long stretches and then sometimes we don't. So.
What's holding you guys up from executing?
Just the fact that, we made teams might hit us in the mouth for a second, and then we trying to regroup and figure out what's the best way to, get out of it. And you look up, you're down 6-7 points. So sometimes you just keep playing and keep fighting through it and staying poised. And we've shown that throughout the season, but it's times but it's showing up. We've done the opposite at the wrong times. Sometimes. So, but I like where we are, and I like that we've shown some fight in those areas. And we know what our best looks like, so I'm excited about another opportunity to play.
Kevin, is that the best part? At the end of the season, you guys shown you can execute at a high level like you guys have done.
Yeah, all season. Like I said, all season I feel like we've executed, played the right way, defensively been on the same page. We're always in communication in the games. So, yeah, I like our chances. I like that we can get an opportunity to play again and go out there and try to get back into it.
Another matchup between you and Rudy. What has worked with, obviously you guys have contained Ant in the past besides game 1, but what works with containing Mike to stop that 2-man game between him and Rudy?
Yeah, just playing a little harder, just helping each other out a little bit more. Mike I think the first game we did a good solid job on Mike. And he made it. He's a veteran player that knows how to play crafty, and he got into the paint a little bit last game, hit some shots last game. And Rudy's just a big guy, he goes into the rim, and they got a lot of penetrators, so we help, and Rudy's there as a safety valve sometimes. So we're just playing harder, help each other out more, and just be there on the catch a little bit more, and we'll be fine.
Behind closed doors, is the whole team on the same page?
Of course. We're around each other every day. We've committed to this grind together, for sure. Well, now, do we agree on everything all the time? Nah, we have constant communication on what may work, and we see different perspectives. We got different perspectives in that locker room, of course. That's what great teams do. But everybody understands the mission. Everybody's in this together.
Kevin, with the playoff experience you have with Book and Brad and other guys, how much does that help kind of the mental side when you're down 0-2 in the series?
You just gotta go out there and do your job, man. Like I said, I could give a speech about what it's like in the playoffs or what the series was like being down 0-2 and coming back. Like, I can go give that speech in the locker room all I want. We still got to go out there and execute the game plan that we got in place and go out there and play hard as we can. Get this one win, possession at a time basketball, So, yeah, all that stuff is cool, but at the end of the day, like, these guys know what it is around this time. Like, it's playoff time. Like, everybody understands this, so I don't think we got to do anything extra.
How important is it to everyone that's saying?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we know what the mission is from day one. We understood what we were trying to get to, what type of team we wanted to be, where we wanted to play at the end of the season. So everybody's been, coming in here with that type of mindset since the training camp started. So of course we're on the same page. When we lose a game, it's definitely going to look like that because we lost a game. But if you dig deeper into who we are as a team, if you're around us every day and see what we do and how we grind every day as a team, you wouldn't ask those questions. But I get it. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people don't see the inside.
I know, Kevin, after watching the tape,
Last one.
I'm pretty sure you've seen that at times the offense is pretty stagnant. ball's not moving.
Yeah.
What have you guys done to attack that pass game so knowing that is going to come?
I think just be more aggressive to look to score. Open up that scoring, opens up a lot of passing. I think sometimes when we look to pass too much, our offense can get stagnant. And so be more aggressive to put our head down, get to the rim, make a play, touch the paint. So I think play free out there and play with force. I think we'll be fine. So they're a great defensive team, though. You got to give them their credit too. There's going to be times where they play good defense on a possession and we may look stagnant. I think we just move on to the next play, get better, and see how we can offset that next time. So next play mentality on both ends. We come out with a mentality of just playing extremely hard, then we make up for a lot of stuff.
Feels good. Better than I thought.
Better than what you thought. How'd you think it would feel? I guess it's better.
Thought it was going to hurt a lot. Feels pretty good.
So you feel like you played tomorrow?
Questionable.
But when you did go down with it, it just seemed like you were in more pain the other night than you were Saturday night.
Yeah, it's definitely like whenever you are jumping and landing, it's usually more of a violent roll. So it's more painful when you do it that way than flat on the ground.
Grayson, what do you do? Just take it up more, prevent that from maybe happening again?
Well, if you land on somebody's foot, there's no prevention. Like I already wear those big braces. That's kept me in a good spot for the whole year. But just stepping on somebody's foot 2 games in a row is just unlucky, part of the game.
I know you had mentioned between games 1 and 2 having the 48 hours and being able to get some movement in practice helped you kind of test it out and get ready for game 2. Were you kind of able to take similar steps in practice today?
Yeah, it was. I didn't do everything in practice today. Did some stuff on my own before, and hopefully a little bit more tomorrow morning. Give it another night's rest, another day of healing.
When you look at the offensive flow for the team over the last 2 games, where do you feel like you guys could be better, especially in those second half stretches where it feels like they've kind of gone runs?
Yeah, I mean, I think turnovers are hurting us. Their points off turnovers are hurting us. Like we're playing pretty good half-court defense, but when they are able to get out and score some easy ones and get an advantage playing 2-on-1, 3-on-2, whatever it is, it's tough for us, and it's tough for us to have possessions where we don't get up a good shot and then have to take the ball to the net and walk it back up. So cut down on that and try to get some more possessions where we're touching the paint.
Grayson, how will the decision be made if you play or not? Will it be your decision based upon what you feel as though you can do, or is it combined?
It's a group decision, mostly between me and the training staff in there, and where it's at tomorrow before the game.
What determines you going into the game knowing that you're not full speed? Mentally speaking, you said you stepped on your foot or someone else's foot twice already. Mentally, how does that affect you not being 100% going to the series?
Well, I've rolled my ankles a ton in my career, and so it's just kind of something you accept that it's part of the game. Like you can just land on somebody's foot, and that's how it goes. So I don't think mentally that is really in the back of my mind. Because I know if I roll it again, I rolled it twice before, like it's going to be all right. So it's not really a worry.
What exactly were you able to kind of get through today? Any trying to run or?
Some running in the on the water treadmill, where some not full body weight, just to try to get some load on it and get moving through it without putting too much stress on it when trying to play tomorrow. So a lot of controlled loading, small jumps, stuff like that. Try to test it out and get some good work and load through it without doing too much for the game tomorrow.
Grayson, toward the end of the season, you guys had a few games where you really looked connected as a group. We haven't seen that so much in games 1 or 2. What happens when that starts to get away from you guys?
Well, I mean, when we're disconnected on offense, we're not very good offensively. You have to give a good amount of credit to them and what they're doing defensively, and they have a great defensive team. They showed it the whole season, and I don't know who voted Rudy for overrated player, but he really anchors their defense and makes it tough. So he he frees up a lot of stuff for them. They're good defensively. You just have to play through their disruption, the physicality and aggressiveness they play with on the ball, smart rim attacks against Rudy, and you just have to be really, really poised with the ball, or else they can get you out of sorts.
Grayson, it just seems like you guys want to generate a higher number of threes than you have the first two games. It seems like you guys are passing up threes. How do you get back to the mentality of, okay, even if it's just a little space, shoot it? I know obviously you haven't played as much because of the injury, but just as a group overall, you feel like you guys are taking advantage of shooting threes?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're passing up that many threes. I think it's tougher to generate them. Like their game plan with Rudy is they trust him at the rim, so everyone else can just be physical and stay home and not help off as much. So it makes it harder. That's why we have to be sharper offensively to try to generate those advantages where we can get open threes, create rotations, all that stuff offensively.
To your point, how difficult is that when you're going against a defense that can switch the way that the Wolves do and have so many premier defenders to kind of generate that ball movement and rotations without falling into too many ISO heavy type things?
Yeah, it makes it tough, and they have lineups where they can put in 3-4 defenders that are all switchable, and Rudy's switching onto the ball sometimes. So it is tough. Like they're a good defensive team, but I mean we can attack them. We have the offensive firepower to do it.
What does Drew's energy bring for this team? Obviously, he's better in Game 2. And what do you think could he do in Game 3 that helps rile up the home crowd with coming off and providing that physicality that you guys didn't have in Game 2?
You said Drew?
Yeah.
I mean, brings us a lot of energy off the bench. He's a dynamic roller, like more of a lob threat than Nurk. Sorry, Nurk. But he gets up and he's aggressive defensively and really active. So he does when he comes in the game, he does a lot of good things for us.